Well, joining me now from New York City is Amy Catalinac. She's an assistant professor in the Department of Politics at New York University. Welcome on the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. So this is Wang Yi's first trip to Japan with a new Prime Minister at the helm. What would you say is the purpose of this visit and the headlines for you so far?
So I think the purpose of the visit is to sort of reinforce that no matter which LDP administration there is governing Japan, Japan-China relations will have that there will be a way in which the leaders can talk to each other, and I guess it's to establish sort of what I see as continuity under the new administration. So the top-level visits between the two countries are really important, and both countries take them seriously. There was supposed to be a visit by President Xi in April that had to be rescheduled because of the coronavirus. And so this is sort of the first chance that Prime Minister Suga has to meet a new Chinese high-level official. So I think it's to sort of establish relations between the new government of Japan and the Chinese government.
Right, as we heard earlier from our correspondent, one of the topics they brought up was the maritime dispute over the islands in the East China Sea. Now, the two top diplomats agreed to continue talks. Would you consider that progress or status quo, really?
I would definitely consider that the status quo. I guess it's progress that they're talking. And they had this meeting, but I think we're going to see a lot of continuity, I think, under the Suga administration's China, under the Suga administration and Japan's approach to China. I think we're going to see a lot of continuity. And Japan expressing concern about what they see as intrusions into the waters surrounding these islands that are uninhabited but administered by Japan. That is something that happens a lot, and the Chinese response also is similar to how they've responded before. So I do see a lot of continuity so far in the Suga administration's approach to security and the region and to China, and this just confirms what I was expecting.
Right. Professor, how do you see this issue getting resolved? Because both nations maintain the territorial claims over the islands.
Yes. So I think both countries would like the issue to be resolved in a way that did not involve the use of force, obviously, between the two countries. I can't really speak to how I think it's going to be resolved. It's possible there could be a joint agreement at some point to administer the islands, but I don't see that really happening in the near future.
Right. Now, away from that, last week the two nations signed the world's largest trade agreement, the RCEP. How do you think that will impact? How do you think that pact will actually help with bilateral ties?
So, yeah, the pact, so Japan has been sort of really engaging in the region since sort of under the Abe administration. I would say prior to the Abe administration, Japan was quite focused on the US and its partnership in the security realm with the United States. But under Abe, Japan has been investing a lot in regional fora. A lot of those fora have been multilateral fora. So this is sort of another example of the trade agreement in which China, I think, will try and use this agreement to kind of try and get what it wants from the economic relationship between the two countries. But I'm not really sure how successful the Chinese government will be in trying to get Japan to do things via that agreement. Japan is also enmeshed in another trade agreement, another big trade agreement, and has all these kinds of security partnerships it's developing with sort of Australia, with India, potentially with Vietnam and Indonesia. So I'm not really sure how much China will be able to use that agreement to its favor.
Very briefly, I just want to ask you, because you had mentioned the Suga administration and continuity. His predecessor, Shinzo Abe, was often caught trying to tread the line between Tokyo's ties with Beijing and Washington. Of course, there's a new administration in the White House come January. Do you foresee that becoming an easier task?
Do I perceive what becoming an easier task?
For Suga, treading that line between, Beijing and Washington.
Yeah, I see. So I think Suga is going to do what Prime Minister Abe did, and I think there's going to be a lot of continuity. We have a lot of examples of this. So Suga has basically appointed the same officials in charge of this foreign policy team that Abe had. He's made some decisions recently about where to go on his first trip, and this signing of the arrangement with Australia, that also suggests continuity from the past. Another sort of aspect of Suga's administration that is the same as the Abe administration is that the LDP in Japan is very heavily dependent on the Komeito, which is a junior coalition partner, and the Komeito help LDP politicians win enough votes to get elected. So the LDP is very dependent on this partner, and this partner in the past has exhibited sort of more, slightly more dovish views toward China than the LDP itself. So the Komeito, I think, are going to make it's another reason why we should expect more of the same under Suga, and I think they'll be treading a similar line via China and the United States that the LDP has been trying to tread for the last 10 years.
Right, so much to talk about, but we'll have to leave it there. Professor Amy Catalinac, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot.